Hello and welcome, listeners, to another episode of Tactical Awareness. My name's Ash, and today I'm joined by Owen and Dan for another episode of Zeroes to Heroes, our N5 faction breakdowns for Corvus Belli's Infinity. We are tackling the former terror of Infinity N4, the Vanilla Combine. Combine Prime, the mixed media of the combined army, where titans of the tabletop, previous editions like the Avatar, have been taken low by the new rules. So let's jump in. We're going to make some lists, talk about our favorite units, some of the synergies, get to anything we didn't cover, and cover this faction and tie up the combined army before we pick our next overall faction to tackle in this series. It's the end of the human race as we know it. It's the end of the human sphere as we know it, and I feel fine. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Tactical Awareness Zeroes to Heroes. We are ending the human race with our last segment on the combined army. It's Vanilla Combined. And man, these guys are very changed from N4. They leaned on a particular model pretty hard in the old days. In fact, I fought one at Colder Than Carbonate 2024, which was an Avatar. And that's kind of changed. Should we just, like, before we start getting into lists, guys, should we start diving in and, like, talking about kind of the
Did either of you
changes?
bring a Avatar?
Absolutely not. There's no way I would take it anymore.
No. Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
No.
He is the most expensive model in the game.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't do it anymore, I don't think. I mean, and you're a guy who will take 2 Yodems if he can. So this not taking him.
Yotem's way better than the Avatar. He's 40 points cheaper.
It's 40 points cheaper.
Yeah, I can fight that.
Well, I mean, you get one. It's 1.5 Yodems for this guy. So let's just get him out of the way, because the biggest thing before was by himself. He was 4 orders. He stayed the exact same points. He's 2 orders now.
Yep. Well, no, he went down 4 points.
Sorry, 4 points. Yeah. Because he used to be TAC aware and he used to have Lieutenant +1 order. Now he's Lieutenant +1 command token.
So, like, I can steel man that to some degree. And, like, the biggest thing is that the ability to stop an Avatar went way down.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, if you kept him in his previous state and nerfed the link teams the way that they've been nerfed, how do you kill an Avatar?
Well, McMurrow still breaks his legs.
Maybe. Is that how you beat him?
Yes.
Okay.
I broke it in 2 orders. I just beat the absolute Christ out of him. He can't handle the negative mods, right?
I'll never understand how anyone gets into melee with an Avatar.
He doesn't have a visor.
Yeah, but, like,
you kill the visor,
his whole
first,
faction is covered in them.
I know.
Or just shitters.
Just kill them all first, yeah.
Hey, these are my 3 Gakis. They just sit around the Avatar all game long, and they don't do anything other than wait for their moment to kill that guy.
Look, you're not wrong. What I'm saying is I cleared the road, and then the Avatar got beat up by a werewolf.
There you go. Fair enough.
I was playing Assassins, too, so it wasn't hard to clear the road.
Yeah, Assassins are really good. But my point is just that, like, 4 order Avatar in a world where you can at max do 1 damage in ARO without using special ammo types. It's really good.
Yep.
Really hard to stop him.
9, whip 17.
Yep.
Right. He's a real nice guy to have die and then land that whip on your hacker. It's kind of nice.
Or you just start with whip 16 and be the hacker to begin with.
That's also something you can do, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So who wants to go first for this one? There are some unique units in this list, but for the most part, it is a combination of the 3 previous.
I mean, are we going to talk about the one big giant everyone freaked out about change?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Did anyone bring any Team Achilles people?
No,
I know. No, you didn't bring Tooser? Okay, you both.
No, I didn't bring Tooser. Sorry, I didn't bring Tooser.
Okay, there you go. I was going to say
a team is what I was saying.
There's one that you bring, and then the others exist.
There's 37 points worth of one. There's basically the Atalanta for this faction now.
Yeah, Atalanta Evil Edition. Pandora also has a solid justification, but Pandora's existence is a lot harder when Bit and Kiss are slightly cheaper.
Yeah.
Like.
And have like a mark for all and pitchers and all that stuff.
Yeah, there are a bunch of. Well, she is the pitcher too, but it's just one of those like. Okay, did you notice that Drakios is size 5? Did I tell you that? Because it's the dumbest change. I don't believe it's intentional. I think it's just wrong. Because he's
size 5.
I have a Drakios model.
I do too.
and he ain't size 5. And look, if you look at his stats, arm 2, 1 wound.
They're probably
Size 5?
doing all new models for these. He's probably size 5 because he's like he's probably all mutated. He's probably
He's
like
called the Team Achilles Dragon.
That's what I mean.
Arm 2, 1
He's
wound.
probably all mutated like the what are they called in Tunguska? The Zellenkriegers. He's probably like a Zellenkrieger.
Oh yeah, the Zellenkrieger Extreme.
That's right.
Yeah,
he's probably like that.
Oh, he's 35 points, and those guys are 7 or 9 or something.
Yeah, well, those guys don't have guns. Those guys don't have a continuous damage Red Fury, right? Like, he jumps 8 with a bang bomb +4 and albedo -6, and the albedo alone is worth maybe considering taking him. The biggest problem is that none of these guys can be a duo that actually gets a duo bonus, because there are a bunch of different people with different names, right? And they're all duo. So it's like you're getting some order efficiency out of it, but there's no reason they're all hero pieces, just taken by themselves.
Right. Even Patroclus didn't get Achilles as a tag.
No.
Like you could have done that.
They could have.
Do you like new Achilles?
Let's ask about new Achilles. What do you think?
If he was in any other faction, if this Achilles as is went right back to Steel Phalanx, I'd actually use Achilles in Steel Phalanx. But he doesn't.
Why? Let's talk about him.
Nanoscreen
Now? Yep.
So
SR,
he's
SR -1 BS.
Yep. His stat line is maxed human stat line.
Yep.
Like 15, 15, 15, arm 3, BTS 6, 3 Vita.
Still frenzy,
but doesn't matter anymore.
He's the Myrmidon armor version, not the Min -6 version. But he's got nanoscreen now, so he's effectively Min -6.
There's no way to get around nanoscreen, right?
Except for marksmanship.
Well, but it doesn't get around the armor, right?
It doesn't get around the armor. He will always be armor 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Or 3. K1.
Or 3. Is that?
K1.
Yeah. But AP Spitfire, legitimate. PS15. Nanoscreen is just a huge buff. Like,
yeah. Well, because it makes his frenzy irrelevant.
Yep.
Right. He's frenzy no cover. His frenzy just means he gets an extra order. He's always in cover now all the time anyway. You can't get rid of the nanoscreen with mimetism with visors. Yep. And he's been -3. But he's the same points as a Carotid or an Anathematic.
And he also, like, is he that much better than the She-Skin?
Probably
like,
not.
Really? Like,
probably not. No.
He's way more expensive than she is. And she's like basically the same model. Like, if you click back and forth, their stats barely even change, other than he starts with 3 wounds and she ends with 3 wounds.
Yeah, because she's got Protheon.
Yep. Like, he is a better gun.
They both have nanoscreen. She doesn't have Mim.
Yep. She loses the Mim 3.
They both have martial arts 4. She's got a DA close combat instead of explosive. No AP on the Red Fury, but can take a multi-rifle.
I didn't realize he's got mimetism and nanoscreen.
Yeah. But hers is BS attack -2, so it ends up being the same SR, because like his is a better gun, but the -2 makes them even.
The Red Fury and the AP Spitfire become even.
In most cases, yeah. Unless you're shooting tags.
No, I just mean like
the base is the same.
They're both PS5 when they shoot their guns. That's all.
Pick different targets. That's all.
Like he's a better shooter than her.
He's 22 points more.
But he's 22 points more. Yeah. And like, like I'd almost do it just because I do prefer shooting. And like, she could just die early, whereas he can't die early. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just got enough beef that like he can't fail 2 saves and die, unlike her. Where
But what about instead, for even less points, taking Patroclus?
Yeah, you could make that choice.
Take the worst,
and then you could pretend to be good,
because he's 2 less BS, less armor,
less
wounds. He's got NWI, so he's slightly more.
You know what he has?
He's slightly more durable.
He has one thing that the other two don't have: specialist.
He does. He's specialist and Hollow
He's a specialist. Look at him go.
Yeah, he can pretend to be Achilles. That's what you do.
Also, that
Achilles.
So they target him.
That's right. Yeah, and be like, "Oh God, run! It's Achilles!" And he's just this jobber. He just ends up being this jobber instead.
35 to 43 point jobber.
Heavy rocket launcher, pulsar. He's got smoke grenades. It's kind of neat.
Yeah,
just an absolute jobber.
Yeah, and I mean that's Team Achilles. And then of course there's Tusser.
Tusser is in
high fives all around.
If he's not in all 3 of our lists, then I'll be surprised because he's in my list.
Look, I forgot he existed, okay?
Yeah, okay. So he's in 2 out of 3 of our list, so that says everything you know about Teaser. We'll get to when we get there. I'm gonna go first in this one because you went first in the last one.
Okay.
So
What's your list?
I really leaned into smoke grenades because you can take them in this list. And I also leaned into a couple of things we talked about. If you can take MSV3 or you take MSV3, if you can take plasma, you take plasma. And
Why, yes, I also brought all of the same models that you brought.
Did you though? I don't know. I did take. I don't think you did. I don't think you took all of the same ones, but I take a very basic list here.
We're like one model off. I have the same models.
Oh
almost
God, so
not the
funny.
quantities. The quantities are all different, but
Yeah,
the dudes are all the same.
The dudes are all the same. That's really funny.
They all show up.
They all show up. So my core list is going to be 2 groups. I'll just start with group 2 though, because it's only a single model, and that model's Teaser. Holy shit, he's amazing. He's BS, so he's not quite Atalanta, but he's also not quite Atalanta points. He's 37 points, a 1.5 SWIC, plasma sniper rifle, neurocynetics. Dude's got MSV2, courage, shock immune, mim -3, no wounding cap. So he's got mim on Atalanta, who I don't believe has mimetism.
Nope.
No wounding cap, I don't think she has that either.
Nope.
And then BS 14 instead of 15. And a neurocynetic plasma rifle plasma sniper is no joke. That gun's amazing. Obviously doesn't have marksmanship, but that's not the end of the world. And yeah, and the fact that it's a plasma sniper rifle means it kills everything in the game. Doesn't care what your immunity is. You're taking 2 saves, ignoring your cover. So it's kind of like having marksmanship, but you're ignoring the other half, if that makes sense, right? You're ignoring the armor bonus instead of ignoring the hit mods.
His gun's way better. Plasma sniper is better than a regular sniper.
Yeah, of course it is.
There's no debate.
No.
No one's going to say like, oh, I guess AP is no, it's not. Plasma's better.
And he's just like way less points too, right? So
not way less. She's only 40 something points now.
45 or something.
She's
like that,
cheaper than she used to be too. She went down because
under 40 points is not. That's all I'm saying.
100%.
I think Owen and I can agree that he's fantastic. I don't think you would take the not neurosynthetic one. I don't think I'd bother with that because you don't get any bonus like hidden deploy off of it. You just lose neurosynthetics for 3 points. I'll just take the neurosynthetics.
Yeah.
I got 2 Imitrons for some cheap orders. I got 4 Datarazis. If you can take 4 Datarazis, you just take 4 Datarazis. Is there any question that this is the best warband piece in the game? Like, for 14 points, I don't think there's an argument that there's a better warband piece than this. It does everything. It throws smoke better than everybody else.
Shoot.
What's that?
The only thing I can think of is like Delamy. But they do a totally different job.
But that's what I mean. They're not warbands either. They're just line troops, right? Like
maybe a Galwegian.
I don't think so, man. Like martial arts 4 DA close combat weapons, mim -3.
Oh, I'm not saying he doesn't kill that Galwegian, but the Galwegian's 5 points.
I know he's 5 points, but and that's the argument of like, is it disposable or not? Like this guy actually gets work done. Like you can send this guy up against damn near anybody. He gets there and he kills them. It's like having 4 McMurrows. Like I get that they're not as fast, but they have 2 orders per model for 14 points.
Dude,
built-in mimetism.
3 of them I played an all GUI list with 12 and trying to keep those guys good. Oh my gosh.
Right. They're Fizz 14. They dodge like crazy. They have Berserk. Like they're so good for 14 points. I would take Max AVA on them all the time. I took a Speculo because I like the Speculo. I think he's cool. And he's like a distraction piece because I have such a low model count here. Being able to place a Speculo where I want as my reserve piece just lets me do things like lockdown tags, and I can suicide run it to kill anything potentially. Like it's not the best play, but for 28 points with its own smoke grenade like delivery system, I'll go in and try and kill your tag. Why not? And we just chop the head off your army. And then a Dartok hacker, because the Dartok hacker it's not quite a Barid, but it's damn close. If you've played against the Dartok,
I think he's just as good. They're different guys, but he's just as good. The Dartok is really good.
Yeah. Whip 13, right? So slightly lower rip, but Trinity SR -1 with the hacking device, Dogged, Religious Troop, Warhorse. And the fact that he's got like a pitcher, EM grenades, Like, it just does everything for being a 18 point hacker. He is really, really effective, and he comes built in with upgrade firewall -3. So we love him. Unfortunately, you can't wildcard anybody with him, or I would have. There's nobody that wants to link with this guy because my 2 big hitting pieces don't link, and that's because they don't share power. The first my lieutenant, a Caronted +1 order, hacker, hacking device plus with upgrade SR -1. He's got that sweet.
You don't have MS-33.
Oh, I didn't take MS-33, no, but it's in the list, is what I was saying. But the reason is I didn't take MS-33 on this guy because
what?
Sorry, what?
What do you mean it's in the list? You didn't take it.
No, I didn't take it. I'm saying I didn't take it in this list. It's in whatchamacallit. It's in the overall list. I took this guy because he's got a plasma rifle, but he's also got a hacking device plus, so I can throw out white noise and fight other visors. Right. So the goal is that I'm hunting visors, not using visors in this list, and then I have a Nathematic with a Trinity +1 hacking device and a plasma rifle as well. So I can use my 2 hackers here who will hopefully explode your brains. They're both heavy infantry. They're both highly dangerous. Camouflage hidden deployment on the Anathematic. Caronted has shock immune, pneumonica, and no wounding cap for effectively 3 wounds. And he's ECM hacker -3, so he kind of has the Dartox thing built in, just minus the BTS bonus. And an X visor, so you can shoot out of range with that plasma rifle as well if he wants to. But with the ability to have white noise in there, it whips 16. I can throw white noises all around with that pitcher, hopefully, get them in the way, and then fight any visor pieces through the cloud. And that's my list.
I mean, do Datarazzi's work? That's the question, right?
That's the question, yeah.
You've got 2 mega dudes, and they're worth it.
Well, I could drop 1 Datarazzi too. I was thinking about it for 2 R drones, and the R drones are actually purely just to be other vectors for the white noise.
Right.
It's effectively a Fizz 16 smoke grenade that only blocks visors you can shoot through. So like, that's 2 Datarazzis. I think get just as much work done as 4. Right, because they're just easier to hide and move around, and then maybe I'd be better off with that for the same point value, and I get some extra orders that way too.
Yeah, I mean, everything depends on those 2 big guys. They have to do all your objectives. I guess the Dartok can do something, but it's not like the Caronted and the Anathematic can't just carry that weight. It's like, if anyone can,
it's those guys.
I mean, you have your like super aero piece that hangs out in the corner and tries to look over as much of the battlefield as you can, and then you just have white noise and smoke to move up the battlefield because you have no other long range pieces at all. Like outside of 16.
I have white noise and regular smoke too for blocking other line of sights because I've got the smoke on all the other guys.
Right. So I mean, you do have smoke and white noise, so you can block. Pick your poison.
Sure.
Which is super effective. My last game at Cold and Carbonite, he was playing that, and I was like, "Damn, that's annoying as hell."
Mm-hmm.
And then he played it to good effect, so it can be super effective. Maybe just order intensive though, but you get 4 orders with Datarazzi potentially. So
if I drop down, they have an MSV reaction piece.
Oh, I got Albedo.
Well, white noise.
That's true. White noise.
Don't I have Albedo? Oh no, we were talking about Albedo on somebody else before. I don't have any Albedo. No, it's just the white noise. I put it with
you know what's going on?
No,
I have MSV3. Not in this list.
Almost
never. I have Albedo. Not in this list.
If you can take MS-33, you take MS-33.
I almost never. Okay, so here. So rejiggering the list, we end up with.
See, Dan, you talked all that shit about you having to make your list right now.
Dropping the dollar. No. We're
making tweaking. A new list.
We're tweaking. We're dancing. We're walking. We're moving. 2 Datarazzi. 4 Datarazzi become 2 Datarazzi with 2 R drones, so I can have other vectors for the white noise. And then that extra 14 points becomes an Echadron and a Gaki in group 2 to defend Tusser. So I got a Gaki now defending Tusser, and Echadron to reload my pitchers on the Dartok. There you go. And we're up to even more models. Dan, your turn.
My turn.
Look, the Unitrons came out.
Oh, hey, finally, in a different army.
Okay. I also took a Caronted Anathematic.
Crushed it.
Wait, did Owen as well?
I didn't bring the Anathematic.
Oh.
I brought the
You brought the
MSV3
Yeah, you brought the MSV3.
because you bring the MSV3 and neither of you did, and I don't understand.
Look,
because we knew you would.
He's a
We knew
whip
you would.
16 hacker with damage +1 on all of his hacking abilities. That's unique in the game.
Okay.
There's another MSV3 in the other.
He still gets killed by an intruder. Like, like that's cool at all.
Look, sure. But I just thought it was cool. I was like, this seems like it would be something.
Two very special boys is the name of this army list, by the way. It's effectively the same list as mine.
Originally, I had the anathematic as the Trinity hacker.
Yeah.
Then I was like, no, I want him fighting. And so I'm going to give him a Sepsitor to make everyone terrified.
He's kind of a mini avatar then.
Yeah. So, but I mean, he's only got a plasma rifle, but he's move. I guess he's only move 4/4. That's so sad. But he's hidden deployment, Mim 6, with no wounding cap, with 2 wounds, armor 5, BTS 6, right? And with surprise attack. So I mean, we got to run up the board a little bit because I didn't bring any. I guess I got white noise with the Carotid, but he's got I guess that makes sense. So anyone with MSV that's wants to fight him with his Mim 6, you can do white noise because I got Bit and Kiss as well on this list. And then otherwise, he just wants to run up and fight all the things. And if anything gives a problem, then we throw pitchers and maybe we deal with other problems like that. Then we got a Unidron. We have a missile launcher. I don't want to give him a plasma sniper rifle, but just couple Unidrons, 1 plasma carbine, 1 missile launcher. Just a little ARO piece, just hanging out. A couple of Icodrons because why not? An Emitron because why not? I got an E-drone, which is the Evo hacker. He can buff up to Unidron, but also, I don't know, be an Evo hacker.
Very nice.
And we got the M drone. I couldn't quite fit the points to get the tackle wear, but I love the Fort Observer bots in any faction. Sensor is good, and all the other things. They didn't go push the button. Flashball spot. I brought the EXO plasma carbine, assault pistol. I think he just exists in this list to go be an objective runner. He's got super jump.
Mm-hmm. That's why he's in my list.
It's like for 19 points, if he gets hit, he might just immediately die. But
I mean, he is pretty tough. He is armor 3.
Yeah, armor 3 is not terrible. And then with 14 super jump button pusher.
Like you're using the big guys to clear the path. Like he's clearly not going out to fight people.
I don't intend to fight with him.
He has one chance because if he loses that chance, he's dead.
It's very risky. It's like you just tuck your butthole every single time you activate him to roll dice if it's a face-to-face.
Also, I don't know if we mentioned it before, but you can't light attack him because he just dies.
He just dies. He skips the end state. Yep. Never goes unconscious.
Good old extra. Bit and Kiss, again, upgrade Oblivion. Because I want the killer hacker because I don't have that killer hacker in the arithmetic. And then another Emitron and R drone, a flash pulse, and then a war core. And so it's somewhat similar to Ash's list, but I want the anathematic more. I want to shove the anathematic up in their face instead of being more of a hacker role. I have like no smoke. So yeah. And I don't know why, but like whenever I see Kiss, the bot with Bit and Kiss, and I just see them having an adhesive launcher rifle, and I'm just like, I just want to shoot that adhesive launcher rifle at everything. Because adhesive launcher rifles are so good.
Sure are. Until you use plasma.
Until you use plasma, then you're like, whoa, why would I buy for these? It's really good. Just burning everything with the heat of the sun.
Yeah. What if they were just dead?
What if they just turn into goo?
If you have the pictures where you want them to be, not a bad ARO piece, or at least can like guard the backline because no one wants to get hit by adhesive because no one's immune to adhesive anymore.
This is true.
It just blows my mind, especially when I was playing more and more O12. But just like adhesive launchers, it's just premium. Anyways, that's my list.
Sweet.
I mean, it's the same as Ash's. Like at the end of the day, you're trusting the two big guys to do all the lifting.
Well, it's the unique thing in this list too, and I think that speaks to besides the Team Achilles stuff that we talked about, right? Like we kind of spoke to how one of the things I think that Onyx eats the lunch of this faction with is it's a better representation of the United. It's kind of like Cosmoflot. It's a better kind of blend of the other factions than this is, because this doesn't do any of those things quite as well.
It's got a lot of unique models in it here, though.
I mean, didn't we cover them all? We've got what?
There are so many named characters that, or not named characters, but just like unique, powerful things that didn't pop up.
Is Dukash only in this list? No, Dukash is in Shazvasti.
No, nobody's only in this list.
That's what I mean, though, right?
Like, than the guys that you've said and Team Achilles. You're right.
But I mean, the Carotid, the Anathematic, and Team Achilles.
And Team Achilles are the big three.
They're just so many big powerhouse models. That don't exist anywhere else.
Yeah. Like they have what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys who are over 70 points.
Oh yeah,
as like leader models. Like,
and then the most expensive tag in the game, the 120-point avatar.
Yeah,
which to be fair, like does everything. It's not bad. It's an avatar, right? Like it's Mim -6, Strategos 2, SR -1 multi HMG with a Sepsitor plus. So it can take over your miniatures. Like it's not nothing. Arm 9 BTS 9. But it's 120 points. It's almost half your army in one model.
Better to do half your army in 2 models.
Yeah, there you go. So you take it. Go for it.
So I didn't bring an anathematic in my list.
Okay.
Which I think I posted. I did.
You did bring the Carotid.
I did bring the Carotid because I said MSV3. Because I brought the MSV3.
See, you did. You followed your own rule. It's your rule. It's fine. Again, with a plasma rifle, not with the HMG. So nobody took HMGs again.
I couldn't afford it. Yeah. But I also brought an overdrawn because again, I just think he's an auto include. Like he sits in there just like Tusser does, like the first 2 models, and like my group also has Tusser in group 2.
You can link him with Norkius still in this list as well.
Sure could, but then I'd have to bring Norkius, and Norkius unfortunately will never make the cut in my brain in vanilla.
That's fair,
because Agent Dukash is just better.
Yep.
Like Dukash is such a monster. Like in this list, before I went back and forth on whether I wanted the Carotid or not, because I'll be honest, I knew you guys would take the Carotid. But I decided to stick to bring the MSV3 whenever you can. But if he wasn't there, it's Agent Dukash and who's the other guy? It's the other deployment zone, the Raziat.
Yeah.
And so you're pushed between a Speculo killer on one side and the Raziat and Dukash coming from behind. And that is an awful position to be in because like all 3 of them are nasty models that solve whatever problems that they could run into. But I didn't. So I'll talk about actual list. Bit and Kiss, because it's just 24 points or whatever. You just bring it. 22 points in this list because you get the Killer Hacker one. Speculo Killer, because if you have access, bring Speculo, bring a Fide. 2 Imitrons, Ardrone for points, 1 Datarazi because I want my smoke. Mm-hmm. The Carotid Lieutenant MSV3. The Exo Specialist, because I also wanted someone who could go and push buttons after the killing stopped. The Igadron for points, Tusser, the Neurokinetic guy, and Tusser's backed up by 3 Taigas and a Mind-Laying Libertos. Just to mess up the board a little bit with a bunch of camo. And Taigas are just wonderful little corner pieces. If your opponent wants to shoot them, great. If he doesn't, it's just as well.
It's fine.
But it also gives me viral in this list, which can't knock. Like they'll kill dogs. Like it's even odds whether the werewolves fight against these guys. And this one's going to dodge into line of sight and then berserk 10 inches into you and then die or live. I don't really care. Like mission accomplished. But they have built-in 6 cents and dodge +2, dodge +3. So they just roll on the floor 16 on or 16, and then they move 4 inches every time, and they just make sure that you can't get on Tusser or the Overdrawn, like whichever one I'm concerned about in the game I'm playing. Because melee is the only way to stop those 2. And so you have Taigas to protect them. And that's my list.
I like it. I did a bonus list.
Yeah.
I made what I think could be a functioning avatar list. Do I think it's great? Not as great as it used to be. Do I think it could work? Let's find out. Actually, let's go like this. I'm gonna put these over here. Just put these in another group. There we go. Before I take my screenshot. And we'll do a bonus list because I do think the avatar list is still a thing that could work. You just need to be more careful how you do it. All right. So the avatar. The biggest problem with the avatar right now is he just doesn't have as many dudes as he used to, or orders by himself, so he's not as much of a one-man army. But he still hits like a ton of bricks, and you can still back him up with a cool hacker. This goes that way of dealing with visors by having smoke and white noise instead. So it's an avatar, Lieutenant plus one command token, it's the only one you can take. Caronted hacker with the hacking device plus, plasma rifle. If the avatar dies, you can then drop the whip onto the Caronted and have him become a lieutenant. 2 R drones with their flash pulses. Yeah, repeaters, bit and kiss, do the killer hacking. 2 Tigers and a Datarazi. The Tigers just hang out with the Avatar to keep those warbands away, because the Tigers will happily kill dogs because they have 5 CC weapons and Berserk. And then group 2, we got 2 Emitrons, 2 Tigers, and a slave drone with a Medtech Obsidon to hang out with the Avatar and also the Caronted to keep them on the table. And that's it. You're leaning on the Avatar, you're leaning on the plasma rifle and the Caronted to do a lot of your work, but you got plenty of specialists, you got plenty of smoke and or white noise and ways to get you there. And it's 300 points, and you got a decent order pool. You've got 6 regular orders plus the bonuses from the Avatar, and 2 regular,
which is 1. Remember, it's 1 order.
I know
you just get 1. No, not even attack wear.
But it's a regular order. So if he's not doing anything this turn because he's suppressing or something like that, right? You can feed it to somebody else, and then your medtech's got 3 regular orders to do fixing stuff and or go do objectives, while the slave drones hanging out back at home, and then you've got the Tigers to go cause some trouble as well. So lots of impetuous and regulars to deal with, but at the same time, you have one of the biggest kill pieces in the game, and if it neutralizes its like primary threats, the Caronted and the specialists and all the little warbands can probably go and clear up the rest. Dig out all the little dudes like the Gazis and the Mim pieces that just don't want to fight in close combat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the Avatar, right? At the end of the day, your whole game will decide on whether or not that thing survives.
Yeah,
right. If he fails to kill, it's as bad as if he died.
Yeah,
like if you walk out on some random Arm 4 model who just happens to make all the saves,
God help you.
Yeah,
God help you. Yeah. What do we think about Vanilla Combined? It's not as interesting as it used to be. I'll be honest. I think Onyx is more.
Did it really lose much though from last edition?
Not really.
Not really, but the elevation of other things, and then the fact that its big like showstopper was this one ultimate alien. It was the Alien Queen. You know what I mean? It was the ultimate in Alien Terror, and now it's like, yeah, it's fine. Right? Like,
I mean, the biggest thing Combine has is the power that all of the like all the primary factions get, is that you have like a million choices.
Yeah.
The problem I've always had with Combine Army is that you have on one hand a collection of all of like the best of the best at whatever job, like whether it's Ducash or Kodali or Bit and Kiss or Norkius or like Tusser or the Yaugat sniper, or like there's so many of them, right? Never mind anathematic Caronted Avatar. You can't bring them all.
Yeah.
And so you're going to end up you're going to pick the most bestest, like the Caronted or the anathematic. And then your whole list is going to be built around the idea of them doing their job. And they're like pretty good at it. But you get
what's funny, the Morats are arguably worse in this list because they don't actually link properly. They don't have the Morat tag.
They also like don't show up. You get the base trooper and the Raziat.
Yeah. And you get the Yaugat. You get the Yaugat too.
Yeah. And then the Yaugat for specifically, you're going to bring that sniper because he's great.
But you have to take at least 2 to get the bonus because there's no point otherwise.
Yeah. You bring 2 Yaugats. Yeah. Like, well, even without the bonus, like multi-sniper plus 1 burst on the active turn is just a pretty good gun.
Sure.
But again, Caronted just does it with an MSV3 and an HMG if you wanted to do that. Yeah, exactly. Like you could have just done that. So Why not just do that?
Roughly the same points. Yeah.
Right? As the two of those Yaogats. Yeah.
At BS14 with an X-Visor and like all the other stuff. Yeah.
And all the other things he has going for him. So like for once, I do think that the vanilla army like has legitimate competition between maybe not Shazvasti, because you could play every Shazvasti model in vanilla.
Yeah.
And have a fine time. Like you could do Sheeskin, Dukash, like Caliban, Speculo, Shrouded, Malignos. Like they're all here.
Yeah.
Hell, even a Noctifier. I don't know.
And honestly, well, you can still do the overdrawn, Norkius thing in this list as well. Like there's a bunch of plays that you still get to make. I think the real standard is that you don't ever take the Morats really in vanilla because they just don't do it. Like Morats still kind of play N4 when it comes to fire teams, right?
You did take 4. You did take 4 more.
No. I know I did. I'm not talking about as a fire team though. Those
I think
I'm talking about like the way that the Morats operate in the Morat list. You know what I mean? Like by making these like
infinite. Oh, the Morat fire team. Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is like I took the warband piece that goes off and does shit by himself. He doesn't need to be a Morbat. That's just built into his stat line.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he's a Morat.
Not really taking advantage of the Team Achilles fire team. You're not really taking advantage of the overdrawn.
The Morat fire teams are effectively still like N4 fire teams. Like
and even the overdrawn one
also seems expensive.
Yeah. Like I'll be honest, I would take Dukash over Norkius. Like if I had to put those, because for this is the only faction where those two will like sit head to head.
Norkius' thing is just that he's a hacker, right? And the little free duo that gives him a firewall is just neat.
Sure, but Dukash starts in your deployment zone.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah,
like you're a hacker. Well, I'm also a specialist, but I'm behind you, and like it's so good. Like like I don't know it. The number of games I've played where someone has a Norkius on the other side of the board and you just kill him before he gets to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you apply Dukash wherever you want him to be, and then he's just a problem.
He will always get to do his thing, whereas Norkius does not always get to do his thing.
Yep, and he's immune to turn 1 alpha strikes, right? Because he's not on the board. Like you're not wrong. Like, he has a ton of utility. I think just different jobs, if I'm being honest.
Different jobs, but like fighting for the same. Yeah. Like they have the same job.
The same 40-point slot almost.
Yeah, they're both 40 or 48 points. Like Dukash is way cheaper than him, but is a little bit of Swick. Obviously, he doesn't have NCO and he doesn't have Protheon, so he doesn't have Super Jump, so he's slower.
Because he arrives in your deployment zone. He arrives where the job is, like at the very beginning.
Yeah, and like there's no background Mook unit that can beat Dukash in just a fight. Like he'll just kill them all because he's Mimetism BS13.
Yeah. It's got viral CC weapon, viral pistol.
Yep.
Multi-rifle.
Oh yeah. He's got AP, so he's got
the tits.
He's got a template. He has a multi-rifle. He has viral.
He's not terrible. Like I'm just saying that like I do think it's different jobs, but I do think you're right that this faction is littered with guys in this rough price range that all have names, that all do good at what they do, including the entire Team Achilles like list, which doesn't really benefit from. I'm so shocked they didn't give them all because they're capped at duo. Like just give them all some common tag and make them worth taking. They're the new hot thing. Do you think, and this is possible for future, because we just saw this happen with Imperial Service while we were in between recording the first and second 2 slots of these episodes. Do you think that maybe when it comes around again that we're going to see like a glow up for those guys? Because these profiles are announced, but there's no miniatures. You're basically just using the old miniatures for them right now. Do you think when we get like
except for Drakios?
No, I guess that's true. Yeah, because the size 5 Drakios is super weird. He's like mutated into a dragon or something. Do you think that when we get our like official evil Team Achilles shit that they're going to do like a glow up to this list? Because I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that to a bunch of these lists, because already the Yucheng one is kind of setting a precedent for that, right? New profiles, new fire teams. Dan, you were going over it. What's the big? There's probably at least like 4 or 5 new profiles and a bunch of changes to their fire teams charts.
Yeah, with the Imperial Service, they really buffed the crane and pheasant ranks. to link with a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
They removed the Sophitect, which is unfortunate because I finally got to hit my hands on one. And
I'm just telling you,
I got one
I'll
finally.
take it off your hand. I need a second one. Like, I'll just buy it off of you.
Turrets and Sophitects. Here comes Owen.
They also removed the not Cascuda, the Garuda.
Yeah.
But
the drop bot.
Yeah. But they're getting their own unique drop bot.
Exactly, yeah. Which we saw in the box.
It might serve the same role.
I do feel like we might, because this stuff is so new and there's no miniatures for it, we might see a fundamental change to the stats when
and then they've actually changed things. Like they just recently they added a new they updated the profiles for their base troopers, the Celestial Guard, and they changed a few. It's mostly the same, but they did change a few things. So kind of like anything is up for grabs for being updated. Granted, they did get new models, or they are getting new models in the new box. So it's interesting. I think I've always loved Imperial Service the most out of all of the Yujing factions that I played. It might have been because it was the first one I tried out, but it was just it just seemed like the special stepchild that I could play that everyone said was horrible. And I still just had a ton of fun playing them.
Yeah.
And I was able to paint up, 8 prisoners and mistreat them badly on the board. But also, they also gained a whole lot more para weapons.
Yeah. And I think we're going to do Yujing next. We don't need to get too much further on this.
It seems like they got a little more flavor, a little more love. And just fleshed it out slightly.
I just feel like these kind of almost feel left behind factions. We might see that. The ones that feel like they're not quite right between N4 and N5, we might just see some stuff saved up that tweaks them when they come around to their time. But I did think we agreed we're doing Yujing next, right? I think that was the.
I mean, you said it.
We're gonna do Yujing again.
We never
did Yujing, did we?
Yeah, we did. We did all of Yujing because we did it when Dan started playing it.
So what haven't we done? Oh, that's true. We did do them with Dan started playing. That's a long time ago, though. What haven't we done? We haven't done JSA.
JSA, I think we were talking about because JSA is new.
The new thing. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Hatamoto is really good. Next, well,
JSA would be quick as only 3, right? We can just rip through JSA, and then maybe we do Yujing again. Because we're going to come back around it, because we've to go to
before we go too far away, though, I do want to finish off a few things on Combined Army.
Oh, sure.
Before we talk about it, because there's two things in the new edition that Combined Army is weird about. They don't have the turret game. They cannot play turrets at all.
Not even the
Medtech is the only guy.
Yeah, okay, I thought you did.
Turret.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. They've got a marksman turret then.
Yeah, in comparison to basically every other faction who has more than one guy, even Ariadna can throw down more turrets than that.
Yeah.
And Combined Army gets none of that. They get one guy who's AVA1. He's in all of the factions. And not even any of the sub-factions. Like, none of them. Nobody gets it. And then the other one is that, there's this ongoing idea that Combined Army is really powerful. They generally tend to do fairly well, like that you see in tournament standings. And there's this perspective that Combined Army is strong. I am of the opinion that Combined Army is strong because they have 16 unique characters and you have to know what every one of them do. And if you don't, you're going to lose because each of them is enough to win the game on their own. And that's my opinion.
And it's kind of like a deck shuffle every time you play, which ones show up and which ones don't.
Right. And so you're going to see
I do think that depowering the avatar actually makes that more powerful because you might see a bigger variety. People try out Ducaches and She-Skins and you know what I mean?
The point I'm just making though is that you have a solid player who's going to pick their preferred versions and they're going to hyper tune their list to those versions of those. Did you go Ducache and She-Skin? Did you go the Raziat? Do you have Norkius? Did you do Anathematic? Are you Avatar? What's the shtick? And then they're going to play against somebody who doesn't know what every single one of those guys does.
Yeah, it's just
chaos theory. They just get killed by it because it's every one of these characters was strong enough to, on their own, kill your entire list if you didn't know what they were going to do to you. The number of people who I hear about getting killed by Norkius just running up the side and then wiping them all out, or She-Skin getting into melee, or the Ducache getting in behind, or again, just the Anathematic and Caronted and how powerful they are as individuals.
So before I knew anything about anything, my first ever game at Colden Carbonite 3 years ago. There was a Carontid with MSV3, and I killed them with bounty hunters, the motorized bounty hunters, as they suicided up and chain rifled them to death.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize how lucky I got. And then his anathematic came out of the woodwork, and I thought it was a Sphinx. Then it was just an anathematic. I was like, oh, it's fine. And he got hit by a mad trap and then killed by it was just bad. I was like, oh, Combined Army's not. I won 10-0, and I was like, I can't believe how lucky I got that game. And I was like, they're not that bad.
This
But that's
seems
like
fine.
the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think they're that bad. I think the thing is that makes them that bad is that you don't know what they all do, and then
Yeah. They're a bit like Toha in that way. Like no one played Toha for a long time, and these guys are doing it because like list diversity and just how many options they have.
yeah, and they don't get to pick all of them. So it's
No.
like the opposite of the US Ariadna kind of. We're going to play all of our power.
Well, because we have to even just make a list. It feels like these guys would be one of the ones that'd be fun to do with like random list generator, where you just put in all the 40-point models and be like,
Right.
what comes out? And then 10 guys come out and you go play with that today.
Yeah, and like that'd be a really big power. But like honestly, that's my opinion on these guys. Like they're always like you don't see Combined Army win the tournaments as much as you see Combined Army place really well.
Yeah.
And the reason I feel that that's likely the case is that when you get to the top tables, you play against people who do know what all of these guys are.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the crazy power that Dorkius has, or that like Kodali or the Sheeskin or Dukash can do, or even the anathematic and the Carontid, all of a sudden you're playing against someone who's like, oh, you're missing about 40 points. I know where it is. And then you can't use it anymore. Like, so anyway, I wanted to rant because it drives me crazy about every time someone talks about Combined Army and they're like, Combined Army is just really powerful. And I'm like, I don't think it is. I think it's just a noob crusher army in the same way that Steel Phalanx forever was the noob crusher army. Because you're like, well, how do I fight a bunch of guys who have better stats than MIM 6? This is just, I don't know what your models do. And God help you if you're the kind of person who proxies all your stuff, because now all of a sudden anything could be anything. And it's significant about who it is. Like for everyone who's going to proxy Tusser now, you better remember which one he is.
Paint the old Tusser as, as whatever this is.
You can't buy the old Tusser right now.
There's a million Tussers in the fucking wild is what I'm saying. Because nobody's going to use them for steel flanks anymore, so they're going to sell them.
But you know what Infinity players are like.
I do. They hoard their miniatures like dragons.
Yeah, and then they're also not going to go buy Tusser, who came out 20 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. Well, you will.
I have him. I'm not going to go buy him. I have all of Team Achilles
every version
right now.
of Tusser.
Yeah. I'll put him in with one of my 3 Achilles and my 3
little Tusser
Ajaxes.
in with slightly bigger Tusser. I'll put little Atalanta in with bigger Atalanta.
Give me my Hollow Echo Ajax so I can bring all 3. Like
Hollow Echo Ajax can be your size 5 Drakios.
There we go. Yeah.
I think going back to, I think JSA is good because, as with everything, when they have like those sneak peek releases and they're like, wow, it's amazing. And then like the actual things came out and it's like the opposite of what it was.
Right.
Like all the points were wrong. All the things were wrong. The person has 2 wounds instead of 1 and they're like good.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying do it now. I'm just saying
what I'm saying is that like if we're going to do Eugene next, it's just kind of like going on. We'd have to review it again.
If we wait 3 weeks in between, there won't be any errors and it'll be out in the wild.
Maybe it'll be up.
That's a smart idea, Dan.
There will be less errors.
And Dan will have played some games with it, maybe even because you have it all painted up already.
JSA is probably the cool one to talk about, except for maybe Oban, because Oban's just old JSA. But even then,
they got some different things. I like Oban.
The links change. The things that were good before change.
They got those insane new profiles that they fucking Keisatsu with the
Thunderbolt BS attack -3.
Our favorite thing.
What's that? 12 points? Sure,
12
I'll bring
points?
4.
How many can I fit? There's 0 SWC, you say. How many can I have? 9 of them? Or you can just do 10. Do a whole combat group. It's 120 points.
Yeah, you can't even. You can just do that and
just do 10 Keisatsu BS attacks minus. That's what we've done. Even have to record the episode.
You only do 8 first off. And the reason you only do 8 is because they can't do
Royce.
I save it for next week, guys.
No, they can't do O. So you bring a 5 group.
Oh, I see. So you take 9. Yeah, 9.
You take 8.
Yeah. Oh, 8. Okay. Yeah. 5 and 3. All right.
There you go. So 96 points.
And then 2 Royce.
There you go. There's group one.
Apparently, we're just doing the episode
250 points.
Lieutenant O'Leroy. There you go.
Lieutenant O'Leroy and regular O'Leroy. Yeah, and then you just fill the rest with Oni weapons and what's
just Shinobu in the other group, and you just move her over when you need to.
That's right. Yeah, as soon as one of them dies, just put Shinobu in.
Boom. There's my list. Good luck, everybody. I don't need. O'Leroy, you need to do the objectives. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Go push those buttons.
Can you duo O'Leroy's?
Sure you can. Of course you can.
Can you? Did you just make that up?
You could before, and the survey says
no.
Goddamn.
No tag link.
Ugh. Why even bother playing?
Delete that page.
Why even bother playing? I guess now we have to record an actual episode. All right. Yep. But all right, there's something. We'll see you next week with, I guess, who would be first? Oban? Because they're the oldest. Yeah, we'll do Oban. All right, sweet.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.